we are? We are on Chaf Aleph Amid Beis. Chaf Aleph Amid Beis. We are at the Mishnah. If for some reason you don't hear me, you don't see me, just holler. But in general, I think we're ready to roll. Someone who rests his sukkah on the legs of a bed. Rashi says, on a full, complete bed, kshera, that is kosher. Rav Yehuda Aimer, if it cannot stand on its own, then it is psula. So we have a machlekes over here. What is the reason of the machlekes? Rashi right away says, wait for the Gemara. The Gemara is going to explain. So says the Gemara, my time with Rav Yehuda, where Rav Yehuda get this in, that if it's not able to stand on its own, it's going to be puzzle. Says the Gemara, we have a machlekes. One says, again, we're going to drop faster, but if anyone has any issues, just scream. One says, the reason this is no kava. If your sukkah is on, if the walls of your sukkah are bed frames, there's no kvias there. And therefore, that's one reason why it would be no good according to Rav Yehuda. Because the Maisa, it's on something that is Mekabel Tuma, and therefore, Rashi points out, so therefore what? Therefore it's as if you're using schach that are Mekabel, something that's Mekabel Tuma, which is going to be a problem. My bay nayu. What's the difference between these two opinions? That you made a frame out of iron around your bed, so your walls are some interesting walls. But now you have a frame around it, and that's what the schach sits on. Because now the sukkah walls are no longer holding up the schach, but rather the frame is. And therefore it will be a problem. So two ways to explain the sheet of Rav Yehuda why you're not allowed to make a sukkah on bed frames. Abaye, 3 lines to the bottom. This is only if you rest it on the actual bed. If you put schach around the bed, then it's going to be kosher. My time. What's the reason? And everyone will flip to their picture book and remind themselves of the picture. But for now, let's pick it up with the next Mishnah. The Mishnah on top of Chav Beis Amud Aleph. Sukkah hamaduvleles. A sukkah that is mavduvleles. We'll see what this means in a moment. V'shatzilas amur b'chamas as Moshe ben son kshera. Hama uva kimin bayis very thick schach. Aval bi she'ein kachavim there, and even though you cannot see the stars near miteicha, it's going to be kosher. So two parts of the Mishnah. So let's deal with part A of the Mishnah, which is what? Sukkah ha-miduvleles, which is the sukkah miduvleles. Says the Gemara, my miduvleles, what does it mean? Sukkah miduvleles. Amar Rav, you know what it means? Sukkah aniyah, a poor, meager sukkah, not lelaschach. Shmuel Amar kana oile v'karin yared. You have this staggered type of situation as your schach. Rav tani chado, Shmuel tani tarti. Rav comes out to one case in the Mishnah, Shmuel says two. Explains the Gemara. Rav tani chado, sukkah ha-miduvleles. If I have a poor sukkah, my duvleles, miduvleles, poor, which is Shetilas Mubchamas is all one case. Kshera. Shmotani Tarti, 2 cases. My Duvlaus Mivulveles. Staggered Vitarti Katani. Sukkah Mivulveles is Kshera. If you have the staggered sukkah, it's kosher. Vitzilasa Miru Mechamas Kshera. And of course, the Chiddush that we see right here is that according to Shmuel, clearly you could have a kosher sukkah even without Tzilasa Miruba Mecha Masa. Continues the Gemara to explain this detail. Amar Abaye lo shanu elo. Shin means gimel tefach. This is only if there's not 3 tefachim between the top and bottom layer. Because why not? Because then you have the din of lavud 3 tefachim. Avli yesh means gimel tefachim. It's going to be psula. That's a bayo. Amar Rava disagrees and says Rava feel yesh means gimel tefachim. Nami it's going to be kosher. Amar willing to say shin begagoy tefach. It's only possible if it's not a tefach. But avli yesh begagoy tefach. It's kashira even if it's very far apart. Why? Chavat Rami means that the top layer, as long as it's a tefach and the bottom is a hole, as the tefach, as we'll see, falls down and covers the gap. Says Rava, where do I know that this din of Chavat Rami is dependent upon being a tefach or not? Says the Gemara, Titinan. We learned in the Mishnah, the beams of a house and the top floor. There's no plaster. So you basically just have beams as a ceiling and a floor, and then beams as a ceiling and a floor. I'm sorry, I can't see, so you're gonna have to deal with the shadow on my face. I apologize. So if they're directly opposite each other, then if someone under one of the beams, under it is tame, because under that beam, the beam is the roof. But if the tumah is between the middle and the top, the tumah is only there. If the tumah is on the top, the rakia goes all the way up, it's tame, but does not go downwards. But now, this is the important part. If the top is kibain, it's opposite the air spaces of the tachtoinais. Then the bottom one's the tachas kulan tame. Why? Because then we assume the top floor falls down. So now if I have tumah underneath, everything underneath is going to be tame because it's kilu as a roof on top of it. Al gabeim connect al rakia tame. V'tani alam. When does this imply that the top floor is going to fall down? An opening of a tevach. What do we see? Beautiful riot to the sheet of Rava. The Chavod Rami is up to a tefach. Continues the Gemara. Rav Kana was sitting and saying over this din. Really? Is it true that when you don't have a tefach, you don't say Chavod Rami? We learned in a brayso because in the case of a mavu, you have a beam that goes out of one wall, doesn't touch the other wall. You have two beams, but they don't touch each other in the middle. So now, why? Because within three, lavod. If it's three, Rashba, as we turn over the Chav and he says, Shimon Gamliel. Shimon Gamliel holds lavod is four. And similarly, we have two beams. And there's a din in Mavui. Again, why we have a beam in a Mavui? Let's remember. Midarai, so you're allowed to carry in this Mavui, which is this three-walled cul-de-sac. Midaraban, and you're not allowed to carry. But if you put a beam at the entrance to the Mavui, at the entrance to this cul-de-sac, then you're allowed to carry. Why? Either because it's a hacker, it shows you, reminds you, don't walk out of the cul-de-sac into the street. Or because it's a mechitza. But now, says this Abraisa, if I have two beams, and neither one is strong enough to hold a brick, which is a critical detail in the size of a beam in the Siga and Erevin. If you could spin the brick and you hold it over the width, then it's okay. So far, no kasha. Rashba Goimer, about 6 lines down, now, this is the case we need. So everyone who is just spacing out for the past few seconds, space back in. One beans below. So Rav Yudah, review the top beam as if it falls down. Review that they're one beam together. But when? The top one can be above 20 amos. And the bottom one can't be lower than 10 tfachim. But what do we see? The clear implication of this brayso is if they're both within 20, we would say Chavot Rami Avagav the last bay tefach. Bam Kashan Rava. You Rava just said it to leave it to tefach. We see a clear brayso say Chavot Rami, even if it's not a tefach. Answers the Gemara. Answer as follows. We have to reinterpret the brayso. The top one can be above 20. Elo what? Within 20. Where? So if it's in 3, you don't need Chavot Rami. You have the din of Lavin. Inami or else, can't be above 10. The top one again, but if it's more than 3 away, even the less Chavot Rami. So Rava stands the test of time. Machlaikas Rava and Abaye. exactly how to learn over here. Again, Rava learns we even can have this din of Shmuel, even if the two layers of the schach are more than 3 tefachim apart. Why? Because the din of Chavod Rami, Abaye says this din is only if it's within 3 tefachim, and we'll just point out, now that we know that Rav Shimon Gamliel holds love at his 4 tefachim, really Abaye should say a little bit better. That as long as they're not within 4 according to Rashbag, or 3 according to the Chachamim. The reason Abaye didn't say that is because we paskin generally love is 3. The last statement got you confused. I just did the math in the Gemara, and it should make a lot of sense. Says the Gemara. Could someone just holler and tell me that someone's listening to me? Someone. Just scream.
We're listening.
Oh, okay, I hear some static. Beautiful. Okay, let's continue. So the Mishnah continued that if it's more shade than sun, it's kosher. Says the Gemara, if it's equal, sun and shade psula. But can ask the Gemara. We learned in the first parak. So what's the obvious implication? If it's more sun, it's possible. It's kshera. So we have a steer on Diyukim, we have a steer implications of our Mishnah to the Mishnah on Daf base. Answers the Gemara, depends on your perspective. If you have a hole, let's remember, I said this wrong the first time. If you have the hole, the sides of the zava on top, then the shade expands. The sun expands. I did it again. So that's how we're going to answer up the stira. If the sun is if the schach is as thick as a house, but let's say there's so much schach you can't even see the sun. And we pointed out when we learned that the lashon of machshirin is a lashon of b'diavad. It's not a lashon that it's kosher lichat chila. We're 12 minutes in, so we are going to take the initiative to do the next Mishnah. And again, as much as this Chazar is fast, it's only because these first few blot, I believe the Chaver did very, very well. But if anyone is listening and things are not clear, please iron it in. Now is the time to get it. Says the Hilgim Mishnah on the bottom of Chabezim and base. Hi, says Sukkah, so Baruch makes a sukkah to have a wagon. I Baruch Sfina to have a boat. Kshera, Balabiyantif, going to Yantif. Baruch Ilan al Gabigamol, if you make a sukkah on a tree or on a camel, it's Kshera. Bavena Ilan Labiyantif, because you're not allowed to go on an animal or a tree on Yantif. Why not? Because there you might come to pull off a branch. Shtayim Bilan Vachas, they are done if 2 walls are by a tree. 2 supports, I should say, are by a tree. And one is b'dei adam, machlekes rishayim, whether it's walls or supports. Oishtayim b'dei adam v'achas b'ilan. K'sheira b'ila oilim b'yantif. But you can't go on into yantif because it's being supported by a tree. It's the same din that you're not allowed to use a tree on yantif. Shalosh b'dei adam, but once 3 are man-made, v'achas b'ilan k'sheira b'ilan light b'yantif. Is that klal? If you're going to pull away the tree, which we've mentioned is the same rule we know in halacha, you have to be standing, for example, by Shemona Esrei. So if you're leaning on something, what's called leaning, what's called standing? So we pointed out it's the same exact litmus test. If when you pull away the thing you're leaning on, you fall flat on your face, you're not called standing, because that means you're being supported by the thing you are leaning on. Mani Mas Nisan, who is the Tana of the Mishnah, Rabbi Kiva, Rav Gamliel Paisel, Rabbi Kiva Machshir. And here we have one of the fan favorites of Masechah Sukkah, a Gevaldik story to conclude the night. Ma'isa Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Kiva Sheibayim Besfina. Oh, my Rabbi Kiva Sukkah's Rosh Hasfina. So Rabbi Kiva holds you how to make a sukkah on a sfina on a boat. So he makes a sukkah on the boat. Lamachar the next day, Nashva Ruach, the wind blows, crossing uproots Rabbi Kiva Sukkah. Oh, my Lord, Rabbi Gamliel. Akiva, Heichan Sukkascha. Where's your sukkah now? End of story. Amar Abaye, says Abaye. And again, this last part, hopefully we'll get this clear in 60 seconds. If not, someone shoot me a message and we'll pick up from Amar Abaye tomorrow. Everyone knows if a sukkah can't withstand a normal, easy wind, a ruach mitzuya, regular wind. On land, it's not a good sukkah. If it can withstand a very strong wind on land, everyone agrees. Those are the 2 extremes. Keep Ligi, what's Machlekes of Kibbur Rav Gamliel, it could withstand the normal wind on land, but it can't stand the same thing by ocean. Rav Gamliel Samar, Sukkadiris Kavabinon, like we saw Rav Yehuda, Kivdin Cholam Bruch Matsu Diam, like Klamu, it's nothing. Rav Akiva Savar, Sukkadiris Arabinam, Kivdin Cholam Bruch Matsu Diabasha, that is enough to be Kshera. Again, if this last Gemara wasn't clear, it was a little bit of a cheshbon and we did it fast, someone will let me know. But Chavra Givaldik, before you all click off.